All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into the legacy of Aaron Brown, a very prominent figure in broadcast journalism.
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at an article marking his passing.
Okay.
And specifically, we're going to talk about his coverage of the 9/11 attacks.
Right.
And hopefully by the end of this,
Yeah.
we'll understand his impact and his approach to news,
Absolutely.
especially during a time of crisis.
Yeah, it's one thing to say, someone was calm during a crisis.
Right.
But, his passing at 76 really gives us a chance to unpack what that meant for viewers
Right.
back then and how news coverage has evolved since then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for anybody who maybe needs a refresher,
Yeah.
Aaron Brown was a very prominent CNN anchor.
Exactly. He was a respected journalist even before 9/11.
Right.
He had been in ABC. He had done local news.
Yeah.
But it was really his coverage of that day and the days that followed. Yeah.
That, cemented his legacy.
His passing brought back a wave of memory.
Oh, yeah.
I was glued to the TV.
Sure.
And amidst all this chaos and fear, there was this stability in his voice.
And that resonated with a lot of people, I think, at a time when, other networks, understandably, were really struggling to make sense of what was happening, maybe even going into speculation a bit.
Yeah.
Aaron Brown was just committed to, delivering the facts as clearly and calmly as possible.
And it almost felt like you could feel the nation breathing,
Yeah.
like a collective sigh of relief when he came on screen.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't just about being calm, though,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Plenty of people can speak calmly, but,
Yeah.
not everyone can really command an audience's trust during a crisis.
Absolutely.
What do you think made him different?
I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
It was a deliberate intentionality.
To his approach.
Right.
He wasn't just reading a script.
Right.
He was choosing his words very carefully, acknowledging the gravity of the situation,
Right.
but without, adding to the hysteria.
Yeah.
He even paused sometimes during the broadcasts
Yeah.
just to let the weight of what was happening sink in
Right.
for the viewers,
Wow.
which is, unheard of in 24-hour news.
Right.
Really.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Some people might say that, his approach was too detached,
Yeah.
too unemotional.
I think it's important to remember the context, though. I mean,
Right.
people were already overwhelmed with emotion. What they needed was clear, factual information.
Yes.
And Aaron Brown provided that
Yeah.
without sensationalizing it,
Right.
without editorializing.
Yeah.
And that's not to say he was robotic.
Right.
You could hear the concern in his voice,
Yeah.
the empathy,
Yeah.
but it never overshadowed his commitment to just delivering the news.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah,
It makes you wonder how news coverage would be different today
right.
if more journalists kind of followed his lead.
It's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
And I think, Aaron Brown's passing
Yeah.
really kind of underscores the shift that we've seen in news delivery. We have this 24-hour news cycle,
Yeah.
this constant pressure to be the first with the news.
Right.
And sometimes it feels like the facts take a back seat
Yeah.
to speculation and opinion.
And I think that's a really powerful point to end on.
Yeah,
For our listeners, I really urge you to look up some of Aaron Brown's 9/11 coverage.
absolutely.
It's not about reliving history. It's about experiencing a masterclass in communicating during a crisis.
Exactly.
See for yourself how his approach informed,
Yeah.
reassured, and ultimately helped a nation process a moment of profound tragedy.
I think so.
Really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive
Thanks for having me.
into the legacy of Aaron Brown.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.